Good afternoon. I hope this daily connection finds you well. I am reading some of the work written by Susan Beaumont. She recently wrote a book, actually about a year ago, entitled How to Lead When You Don't Know Where You're Going. Fitting title in a time such as this. At the time when she wrote the book, she was talking about the institutional church and how the institutional church as we know it is in a time of change. That big churches that were thriving and lots of kids in Sunday school are no longer. And average sized churches are about our size. And we're trying to figure out the many ways in which we can utilize our space and also to build partnerships within our neighborhoods and communities. I didn't know how poignant her words would be in a time such as this, however. How to lead when you don't know where you're going, and how that is so very applicable to this moment in time. In her book, she talks about two things. She talks about liminality. And liminality, or a liminal season, as she writes, is an in-between time, a time in which we move from one thing to another. So, for example, an ending of a pastorate to a new pastorate, or the creation of a new strategic plan, and then living into that plan, and that space between living into that plan and then the next big idea. In our case, beginning the year in celebration of our 125th anniversary, building that hype, looking forward to what this year was to bring, and now we are in a time of COVID. And what will the church look like when we get back to worship in space, back to our buildings, back to how church was, or the new normal beyond COVID? We are in a liminal season, an in-between time. And one of the things that I am leaning into in her words is that in this liminal time, though, God is just as much at work, maybe even more so, because we are being challenged and pushed in ways we never imagined. We are being invited to deeply listen to each other and to notice our surroundings, and to perhaps ask questions that we normally wouldn't have asked, but to ask them, to put them out there, to see where God's transformation is in this moment in time for us as a congregation and as a faithful body. She also writes about proximate purpose, that in these moments that we don't know where we're headed, what can we plan reasonably for a month, 2 months, 3 months out? And I found that language to be helpful as I think about our church congregation, but also in our personal lives in light of COVID. What is our proximate purpose? What can we wrap our head around in the next month, 2 months, 3 months? What do we know we can do reasonably well, even while living with COVID? What are some things that we know we can do successfully, especially as we start to bridge those gaps from what can we do in 3 months, what can we do in 6 months? So as I share this information with you, it's just to offer language for this time in which we live, that we are in this in-between space, we're in this liminality, and we can also live with purpose, approximate purpose, that offers a great deal of holiness, transformation, joy, light, and life-giving measures that we know that the presence of the Holy is with us. So I'm going to link something that I found helpful in her writing to this daily connection. If you find this interesting and like to delve into that, click on the attachment as I thought it was an interesting read and something for us to ponder as we continue to live in this season together. I hope you are well, and I hope that you are able to enjoy some of this beautiful fall weather. God's light and love be with you on this day, and I'll see you soon.